HBL Hair Care, healthy ingredients for healthy hair. Enhance health, reveal natural beauty, and give new life to your hair. Experience the holistic difference of HBL Hair Care.
Hi, welcome to North County Voice. Our guest today is Oceanside City Councilman Jack Feller. Jack, welcome to North County Voice.
Thanks very much, John.
It's been a lot of years.
It has.
You just reminded me it's 15 and a half years.
Yeah, it's unbelievable the time goes by. So
Yeah, how long does it seem like it's been to you?
about a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, one of the topics that we've talked about frequently over the last 15 years is current again. Your council passed a budget, and I'd like to get your characterization of it. Is the money going where you think it should go?
Yes, I went over it pretty finally just to see what might be hidden. There's really nothing hidden. It's a conservative budget with a little bit extra every year for the next 2 or 3 years that makes us makes us keep things in perspective, I think. So Michelle Lawrence and her whole team just did a great job of paring things down. It was 1.24 million that we ended up with, and honestly, the directors all put in something like 5 or 6 million in requests, and so to keep it within that the spending excess that we had just for the budget for the general fund. It was amazing that the requests were so high and she kept it so low. So.
Is there one particular item that you think has been left out? Is there something you'd like to see?
Well, I'm a road guy, and I think the capital budgets are eliminating the road on Melrose forever, the road at Rancho Del Oro in 78, and I believe our congestion is going to, just increase manyfold if we don't open up some of these opportunities. So I'm upset about that, but I'm not the majority, and this is the way the government's ruled. So.
One of the things that is a budget item is the pool. I know you have a special interest in that.
Yes, we've supported that all along. I am particular, but I think everybody is pretty much on board. I know that it seems like a lot of money, but these pools are they're at least 50 years old that we have in Oceanside. So, and they're old pools. They're not the right size for competition. The schools have to, they have to schedule late into the night many times just to be able to use the pools. So I think it's our opportunity to provide something substantial for the future. We've got a plan. It's in our planning department right now. We think it'll be coming out to us in the next 4 or 5 months with the whole plan, and then the issue is to provide the revenue.
Are you targeting a third pool or a replacement for one or both?
No, I think this is a third pool. I think the other two can remain as they are because they serve a purpose. There's lap swimming and summer swimming for the kids in the neighborhoods, and so those types of things are still available.
One of the things that impacts the budget, of course, is the revenue side. You talked about a conservative budget. If you want to do things like the pool and continue to have a conservative budget, revenue has to grow, and part of that is housing. There's housing potential around San Luis Rey Mission, and that's been somewhat controversial.
Well, I don't know how it could be controversial. The higher use there was the Catholic high school that was originally planned for that, and that would have been, we know how that the schools affects the neighborhood, especially. We're so aware of El Camino High School that has, 3,000 plus students up there. So it's not a higher use. It's maybe a little more dense, but it is also an ideal location. There's shopping that is definitely available on either end of the project, and all those businesses need that type of business. And it's right on a transit corridor, so the opportunity is there for some high price housing as well as the lower income, and I think the Planning Commission just approved the lower income the other night. So,
do you see that as sort of the best choice for significant growth in the city?
Well, we're really out of major parcels, so things will be infill or a gentrification of sorts in various areas. Still have the drive-in site that is, we feel is kind of gaining some traction. It lost its momentum in 5 and 6 when it really went south there. So I think we've got some potential. I don't know how many more homes can be built of any substantial amount. This is, I think, 368 or 382, something like that.
Well, there's also an issue out there that everything costs money, of course, but not primarily a money issue, but an impact issue, which there's two different sides to it. And that's this pilot cycling lane on Coast Highway. So what's been going on with that?
Well, it's part of the vision plan, the Coast Highway vision plan. I was willing to look at the pilot program to see what kind of information we could gather from it. Frankly, if I was a parent, I wouldn't allow my children to ride on Coast Highway. It's a busy street. It was the north-south connection for many, many years. But I think we can beautify without maybe narrowing everything down. And so, I'm on the fence about the effects of it. I've heard from the old timers, like, what are you doing? That's the biggest bottleneck in the county now. And so we'll see how it goes through this summer and have a lot more information on it later.
An issue that's come up from time to time, which is, I guess in a bit you could almost say it's on the revenue side, because the beach drives revenue as well as quality of life. And the sand's is not going to be there forever unless there's some maintenance done.
Well, there's not only that, we've now kind of persuaded the Corps to do a study to see how we can retain. We have the annual dredging of the harbor every year where they pump sand back onto the beach from the mouth of the harbor. That was caused by Camp Pendleton building the jetty to the north for their harbor, their portion of the harbor. So we will get some sand back. Sand comes and goes. It sits off the coast and then washes back in. But it seems like every year it's getting a little more severe in the erosion, and so I think it's going to take something like submerged jetties or something in the water that will keep the sand from flowing south. And all that sand that's flowing south in the winter is ending up in the bottom of Rose Canyon off of La Jolla. So it's a huge, they'll never get that sand back, so.
Now, you've said you've asked for that. Have they agreed to do it?
Yes, I think they're starting that process right now, so starting to look at it. Anything like that takes years, but.
We said at the beginning of the show, it's 15 and a half years. So what are your future plans?
Well, I've decided I'm going to try again. There's so many things that seem to be not quite complete. The pool, most of all the hotel on the beach, and you know, we've been just beat up over that hotel, and it just seems such a natural thing that I don't understand how people can be so negative regarding that. And so I'd like to see that come to fruition. The blocks downtown that were the core master plan, the 9 blocks, you know, we've got building on at least 2 of them starting right now. So, and 2 more or 1 more coming up. So we've got some things to look forward to, and there's just I want to hang around. There's just seems like too many things that I haven't finished yet. So.
Okay, and it certainly does take a long time. I mean, some of these span 3 or 4 election cycles.
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, the Beach Hotel has been since, well, the last hotel down there burned down in 1896. So, what is that? About 120 years?
That's a little before our time. Yeah. So your seat, we know who you're going to endorse, and that's yourself. Now, there's another seat open. Do you intend to be active in that campaign? Are you going to endorse someone?
Several people have come forward, but you know, at this point, I don't even know who's in the race. One fellow who was in is now out. I don't know who's coming forward. So you know, there's rumors of people coming forward to be part of this, but you know, I'm satisfied that I'm making a difference individually. So it has to be somebody that's pretty much in tune with me if I do endorse.
You know, you just mentioned a few things that have not been completed yet, and that's driving you to stay around. We've got a little less than a minute left. What do you think the city's most significant achievement has been during the last term, your current term?
I think we have an unbelievable water and utilities and business development through our planning and developing department, and I think they have come almost full circle. They are taking care of business for the citizens of Oceanside, and ultimately this is going to be a great place to live, work, worship, play, and that's kind of what I hoped for as a council member, to provide the roots for my family and all of the citizens that are here now and will be coming in the future.
Well, Jack, thanks for being with us on North County Voice. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
And we appreciate you watching North County Voice. We will be back with our next guest after a short break.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Welcome back to North County Voice. We are here with Oceanside City Councilperson Esther Sanchez. Esther, welcome to North County Voice.
Thank you, John.
Let's start with a couple of questions about money. That's a big topic.
Money,
Has
yes.
been for a lot of years, right? A little bit better news. Oceanside's on a way to recovery. So a recent budget was agreed upon. Are you happy with it? Do you think the money's being spent the right way?
Yeah, we just had a workshop, and the city manager presented her recommendations as to how to continue spending money that we have, obviously ongoing, such a police fire, and looking at that and realizing, of course, that we need to meet the higher demand for those kind of services, as well as maintaining the other services, which is, library, parks and rec, and of course maintenance of our roads and things like that. So I think there was one voice pretty strong that we weren't able to satisfy, and that is the need for traffic calming. We had a program before the recession, and that was one of the programs that was cut. So we continue to have that problem, traffic calming. Traffic calming could be anything from making sure that perhaps we need an extra stop sign because it's warranted. There's more traffic and therefore more need for directing traffic, or narrowing streets to give the sense that there are people close by, maybe walking, riding their bicycles, to these speed humps, which are, then again, you get more expensive there. But I think traffic calming, I would love to be able to jumpstart some of the projects that we're looking at as well, like the swimming pool that we're looking at El Corazon, and obviously other things that we've put on the back burner, like we haven't really talked about where our ultimate police department, when are we going to start looking at focusing on that as well as our fire stations.
So a related issue, the budget, of course, I asked the question and you addressed it as to where we're spending it. There's also the issue of where we're making it, which
Yes.
is economic development,
Yes.
which I know is something you're excited about talking
Very,
with
very
us about.
excited.
So let's get right to that.
Yes, we understand very well that increasing taxes is not something that our residents would like to do. Perhaps maybe a hotel tax, raising it, but that's definitely not currently on the horizon. What we're looking at is encouraging more commercial use of our land, encouraging more jobs, for example, more businesses to come to Oceanside, and making it more business friendly, but at the same time balancing, ensuring that if people are going to want to come here, they're going to want to have those things that those quality of life things, like ensuring that we have parks and programs and after-school programs and things like that. So in terms of economic development, one of the things that could affect it is, say, a project, like the project that was just approved via Astoria. I don't think we realized until really afterwards the full impact that building a 300-unit project would mean over a $1 million hit on the general fund once it's built every year for the life of the project. I mean, those are things that we have to really look closely at as we go along in our development of the city in terms of residential. Commercial, I think, is what we need to really focus on, and I think that is really going to, get us to that, to focus on that. We also have agritourism, and that's something that I've been hoping that we would really aggressively address, and we did finally adopt a resolution to hire a consultant. The report is a draft, it's ready to come forward, and we're really excited about perhaps moving into wineries and other things that our South Morrow Hills agricultural lands develop or do. So this is very, very exciting. It's the whole idea about being sustainable as a city as we go forward. So,
Of course, wineries actually cover both sides of Oceanside, the downtown, and because we have
Yes.
the actual winery itself,
Yes.
which is sort of agritourism, and then we could possibly have wine tasting rooms.
Yes.
Now, I understand that would require a change to a city code. code?
Yes, right now we require, if you're going to have, like wine tasting or beer tasting, you have to have some kind of a food component of it, like a restaurant. And so what we're looking at now and what we're kind of surveying the community is what if, is that something that would be supportable? In the downtown, for example, it makes a lot of sense because we have a lot of eating facilities very close by, to allow wine tasting rooms without having to require the restaurants, the food part of it. So I know we're looking at that. We're also looking along Coast Highway and whether that's something that would be viable, feasible there. Possibly starting with downtown may be the plan that we adopt, so that we've got the parking there, right? Once the Lot 23 is finished, we'll have the parking, and it'll be easier for people to walk around. It's more of a walkable community downtown. So, yeah, we're really excited. The whole idea of farm to table is just really taking effect in Oceanside. Really proud of the restaurants that are doing it in the downtown area. All these really, young entrepreneurs that are looking at, and also tying in with the schools. A lot of the schools have gardens, community gardens, and connected with their cafeterias and restaurants. Believe it or not, the restaurants are connecting with some of these school gardens. So it's a really exciting time in Oceanside.
I've heard you use the word downtown quite a bit, and you've been at this, being elected official you're in your 16th year.
Yes.
Even actually way before that, of course, it was all about the downtown. And then
Because of the redevelopment,
right,
yeah.
and then, somewhat, maybe 20 years ago or so, there was a lot of focus on the east of the 5 industrial parks and commercial development.
Yes.
But I'm hearing, not just in your voice, but I'm hearing it, from others, downtown seems to be hitting a major renaissance. It's no longer just, we have to do something about downtown. It's about some things have been done and we're moving forward. Is that a fair characterization in your opinion?
I would say we've ended the redevelopment in the downtown. That program is over in terms of, at the state level, that program. But we are still going forward on redevelopment in terms of finalizing the projects that we've funded over the years. But that is where we can, in compliance with state laws and what we've agreed to do with SANDAG, to do smart growth. That is that we do some additional residential along major corridors that have public transit. We've also focused on the eastern part in terms of El Corazon. It's been really exciting to have the senior center having jump-started the focus on El Corazon, and so I believe that has also increased the economic development activity in the eastern part of our city. We have hotels built there. I mean, when I first started, we had very few hotels, and now we've had several locate around El Corazon and also in the downtown area. So in the coastal area, of course, we have the Coast Highway Vision Plan, and that's been around since 2008, 2009. That's when we started with some focus, having an iron consultant and doing all these kind of meetings around. I think they were like 3 weeks of meetings from the morning till evening. Just come on down and and meet and talk with some of the city employees who were working on the project, as well as consultant team. So we got a lot of ideas, and now we're trying to see what we can implement. We did give the green light to study the Coast Highway Vision Plan, which would include possibly making the lanes one way each way. We won't have all the facts until this study is completed. I'm certainly wanting to make sure that traffic continues to flow. It needs to be for all modes of travel, and the impacts to the residential just to the east and just to the west, we need to look at that very closely as well. So,
speaking of all modes of travel, there is a pilot program, right,
yes,
for bike lanes. So have you received any input from that from your constituents?
Yes, I have, and I think that there are some concerns. There are some current concerns because this is something new, of course, and whether or not the roundabouts will fit and work for us is something that we're looking to see. This study again will really kind of answer those questions. So we have, on the one hand, we have people who really want to use bicycle as a mode of travel, right? To work, to school, and of course, if it's going to be to school, we have to make it sure that it's safe, right? So the public safety issues for buses and of course for our cars. And so there are some concerns that it might not work. On the other hand, we have people who feel that will work. So the only way to get all the answers is to wait for this environmental impact report, and together as a community, I do hope that we make all the right decisions.
I know one of the things that you wanted to talk about was the homeless issue as more of a regional issue than a local issue.
Yeah. Most recently, the big issue was that at the Parks and Rec Commission meeting, there was a topic that was brought up about whether or not we should be closing the pier for any amount of time. Now, the pier is really near and dear to my heart and the heart of a lot of residents in Oceanside. It's been around for a long time. When I was born and raised here, and so of course I remember the days of going fishing with my grandfather, my dad, my uncles, my brothers at 2, 3 in the morning, right? So there is still that kind of culture, that fishing culture in Oceanside, very, very strong. And so to close the pier would be a huge, for any amount of time, a very, very drastic, I think, action. And I'm not really sure that it would actually solve the issue, the real issue being homeless. So what I understand is that police closed down the amphitheater, and so some homeless then went to the plaza area and then up to the pier. And this is kind of like a moving pieces, right, like on a chessboard. And that is not the way we should be solving our issues. I know that other cities are having maybe even worse problems than we are, and maybe for us it's because we have so many services for homeless. But I do believe that it's time to go back and do what we do, and I think is to form that task force and at the city level, and then immediately jump to the regional level and start really talking about more viable solutions than moving people around. Because then if we close the whole pier area, then where are they going to go? Residential, commercial, bigger, another big problem. So. But that is an issue that I think we need to start looking at again. I'm going to be asking our city manager to bring this forward in a more organized and bigger effort.
Well, we have less than a minute left, and I want to ask you the political question. There's 2 seats up. You
yes.
are one, and I think you're going to endorse yourself.
Well,
are you going to endorse someone for the other open seat?
It's still early in the process, so I'm not really sure, who is considering filing. I know a very good friend of mine, Victor Roy, who has been working on all of our campaigns, the mayor's campaign, Chuck Lowry's campaign, my campaign, the campaign against vacancy control. Victor Roy, and he himself has knocked on over 10,000 doors. I know he's planning on running, and I have told him, he asked me for my endorsement, and I had to say yes. Here's a guy who's been just really, really working hard for our community, and especially election season for the last, I don't want to say 6 years, 8 years.
Okay,
and
we'll have to leave it at that.
Yeah.
So that sounds like an endorsement to me. So
yeah.
Thanks for joining us on North
and
County
I would
Voice.
really appreciate running, this next term, because I do want to see that hotel built. I want to see, Coast Highway work the best that we can and bring all these businesses to Oceanside. So.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thanks
you.
for watching this edition of North County Voice. And remember, this show and all KOCT shows are available as video on demand at KOCT.org.
HBL Hair Care, healthy ingredients for healthy hair. Enhance health, reveal natural beauty, and give new life to your hair. Experience the holistic difference of HBL Hair Care.